billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. May peace, mercy, and blessing of Allah be on all of us. I am going to deliver a presentation on the topic of Islam and foreign policy, and it is based on analyzing a foreign policy of state of Madina. As we know that Islam is the word which is derived from salam, and which means peace. So I think if we consider on the word of only Islam, so the foreign policy will be come to our mind that it is just peace, want peace. But maybe there are a lot of other people which never care about your own terminologies, about your own ideas and your own religion. So you have to explain the things. And first you keep in your mind that foreign policy of Islam is just something which we can say that it is not the main Islam. It is just a part. For example, first you will establish a state and then you will implement the laws of Islam. Then there will be foreign policy. It is just one part of Islamic state. So today I'll shed some light on the foreign policy of Islam, and may Allah help me to be the correct in my speech and our presentation. So first I want to introduce my topic, and I introduce somehow, but I'll inshallah straightforward to my topic, and inshallah I'll be very short to finish presentation today. First, the then circumstances. I mean by this point the circumstances of state of Madina and before, when the Prophet ﷺ started the message of peace, which is Islam, in this Mecca, and there was no Islamic state. He was the only one person which he just preaching about it. And then the then circumstances was, I think you already know about it, which we studied in our Islamic studies, the history of Islam. So I think I can't waste time on this point. So we will come straight forward to the state of Madina. State of Madina, which was made in that time after 13 years of the prophecy of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he was in Mecca, and some people from the Madina came to him that we want to give you shelter, asylum, so you may come to us. But the Prophet said, go to your tribe, go to your people, and just tell them. And also some people told them there that, O people of Madina, and the name of Madina was Yasrib in their time, do you know what are you going to do? Do you know about the thing? What are you going to do? And some people from the Madina also told, maybe he was Sa'd ibn Mu'adh, that it means that you are challenging all Arab world, that giving shelter to Prophet. What does it mean? You are giving challenge to all people of earth. So you should be ready for the war. It may come. So he said, I am ready for each and everything. So they went to Medina, and first of all, as mostly the people in Medina, they accept Islam. So it was so easy. Prophet directly implement the laws of Sharia, the laws of Islam in the state of Medina, and that was declared the first state of Islam, and which is also little after it is expanded. So just after when established the state of Medina, so now we came to the main point. What was the foreign policy of the great state, the state of Medina? What was its foreign policy? Because that was a state, Prophet was leading that state, and there was a foreign policy. So what was that? So I'm now going to explain something about that. First thing, the definition of Islamic foreign policy. The foreign policy of Islamic State is based upon the effective conveyance of Islam to the entire world. It is not something local, it is something global. It has global ideology, and you can't keep it in a corner. but it should be wide and broad to all the world. So, what are the main pillars of foreign policy of Islam? And you keep it in your mind that I am talking and I took all these things from the state of Madina, which was the thing. But as I told you earlier, that foreign policy of Islam is not based on something else. It's based completely on Islam, and which is derived completely from the Quran and Sunnah. And whenever there is no relation with the Quran and Sunnah and something which we can found in foreign policy of Islam, so it will never be happen. It's something very much clear. So the main pillars of foreign policy of Islam are the two things, jihad and dawah. These are the two things which is, but there are some other principles which I am going to explain about. But these are the two main things, and I'll explain it later on. Some Quranic principle about the foreign policy of Islam. What are the some principles which Quran described, which we have to know about? So Quran is very much clear about those principles which is described in Quran, and we have to follow that, and that are the authentic thing in qat'iyyud dalala. You have no choice in those things. You have no choice, never. So the first thing, that you can never violate the treaties. In foreign policy, the most important thing, you are declaring treaties with some other states. So in Quran, that is the first principle which is described as you can never violate the treaties which you have with other states. It's verse number 34 in chapter Surah Bani Israel. The verse is وَأَوْفُوا بِالْأَهْدِ إِنَّ الْأَهْدَ كَانَ مَسْئُولًا, that you should complete your treaties because you will be asked about it. It is not something wasteless, useless. The treaties will be asked, and the verse is common. It is not the treaties about the Muslims, between the Muslims. It is the treaties between the Muslims and non-Muslims. Whoever they are, Jews, Christian, Hindu, whoever they are, but it will be like that. The second thing is international justice. Islam is belief in international justice. There is not specific thing for the Muslims in justice, not specific thing for the Muslims than the Muslims. Islam is provide justice, peace, and all these things welfare to the Muslim, the same they provide for the non-Muslims. So, as the very common verse in the Quran, as Allah said to His Messenger Muhammad, peace, mercy and blessing of Allah. So, what Allah said, وَلَا يَجْرِمَنَّكُمْ شَنَآنُ قَوْمٍ أَلَا أَنْ لَا تَعْدِلُوا اعْدِلُوا هُوَ أَقْرَبُ لِلتَّقْوَى. The enmity, the antagonism of someone may not be cause of your injustice to someone. Be afraid of Allah and do justice. So it is a common principle that which is applied to all the people. And this is the verse number 8 in Surah Al-Ma'idah. And another thing is respect the neutral state's boundaries. When you have Islamic State, you should have some boundaries with other people, because all the people in the world may not be Muslims. So maybe there are some Christian, Jews, Hindu, some atheists or other. So you will have surely some boundaries with our states. And as we know, as students of politics in IR, that we have different states. Some are maybe declare enemy, some are covert actions are there, and each and everything we know about that. So the countries, the states which are neutral, which do you have treaties with them, you should be careful about them. Never cross their boundaries, never violate your treaties and their other some whatever it be, but never annoy them, never annoy them, till they are standing on their own treaties, till they are standing on their neutrality. If they cross that thing, then you can cross and break your treaty, each and everything, and you can go far. In the verses, they are إِلَّا الَّذِينَ يَصِلُونَ إِلَىٰ قَوْمٍ بَيْنَكُمْ وَبَيْنَهُم مِّيثَاقٌ. It is the common verse, the verse which is revealed to in the context. The meaning is when there is a war and some munafiq may oppress you, and then you want to act against them. If even they take asylum with those people, then never act against those people, those states which are in treaties with you, which are neutral. And good relation with neutral state. Another thing is you may have good relation with those states. It's not something that when you establish a Khilafah Islamic state and you will announce that I'll crush each and every person in the world, I'll never leave any state in the world. No, it's not like that. It is something very, very clear. You have Islamic states and you may go for some relation with other non-Muslims, but there should be the Islamic law should be considered for the Muslim that they are going. I'll explain it later on, that you may go for someone for good relation, but you will care about the Islamic laws and regulation. Otherwise, it all will be useless. It will be not recommended as Islamic foreign policy. And another is peace agreement. You can also do peace agreement. And another thing is Allah said, فَإِن جَنَهُ لِلسَّلْمِ فَاجْنَحْ لَهَا وَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ إِنَّهُ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. If the mushrikeen, if the non-Muslim, they want some peace, they tend to peace agreement, you may go for it. It's not necessary. But this verse is also not a commandment from Allah's side that you should do it, but you may do it. Otherwise, you may, if there was some other things that you may destroy them, you may act against them, so it's good. For example, if you occupied them, and then in the last point, if they just frustrated that now we should be destroyed, we will be occupied, and then they offer peace agreement. So it should not be justifiable. You can go onward. Now some main principle of Islamic foreign policy. The first main two pillars were Jihad and Dawah, and then some principle and points from the Quran and Sunnah. Now some main main principle of Islamic foreign policy are no boundaries among Muslim world. When Islamic State established, there will be no foreign policy toward another Islamic state. Why? Because in Islamic world there are no boundaries. All the Muslims living in this world, having majority in areas, establishing their own state, will be declared only one state. You can go far to join with you. As we know that the Khilafah, there will be only one leader, which will be the Khalifa, or you may name other. It doesn't matter that it should be a name of Khalifa, maybe Amir al-Mu'minin, other and other. So he will be only and only one. If another person in Muslim world raised to be another Khalifa, another ruler and leader of the Muslim world, should be killed. According to hadith of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, إِذَا بُوِيَ لِخَلِيفَتَيْنِ فَقْتُلْ آخِرَهُمَا. Whenever there is bayah pledged for two leaders, for two khulafa, so they kill the another one, the last one. Why? Because it is very much difficult to keep two swords in one, which we can say, which we are putting in sword in, and then it is very much difficult. It's not. I'm not saying that. It's said by Hazrat Umar, Abu Bakr, when when Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam demised. After him, people gathered in Saqifa bin Sa'da, and they were declaring that we will not bury Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam till we elect a leader from among us. So there was discussion. Some Muhajirin said we may have one leader from Muhajirin. Ansar said we may have one leader from Ansar side. So there will be two leaders, one for Ansar, one for Muhajirin. So Abu Bakr, which was the nearest companion, close companion of Prophet Muhammad, he said, no, he gave the example of two swords. So there can't be two leaders. And he also recited some other hadiths in that time, and then after that he is elected. Even two person, they didn't give him baya. One was Salim Muaz, one was another. But there was a lot of reason for that. But he was one person. That had no value. So another thing is Islam will be considered superior. Each and everything that you are doing, you will never violate Islamic rules and regulations. Islam will be kept all along superior. And whenever you are doing agreement, you are establishing, making relation with other states, and you are violating Islamic rules, Quranic orders, Prophet Muhammad Sunnahs, Hadiths, it will be not considered foreign policy of Islamic State. And another thing, having expansionist nature. Your foreign policy will be based on that you will have expansionist nature. You are looking for, if you see a state, a government, a country where there are depression, they are just exploiting their own people, you may go for them. And if you consider that may state as a threat for you, expected threat, so preemptive attack is allowed, you can do for, because in future it may hurt you. In that time you will not be in the position that you face them. So before they get strong, you may occupy them, you may get them, rid over them. But another thing, keep it in your mind that Islamic Khilafah never established by non-Muslim, over the non-Muslim. It doesn't mean that you just destroyed, you act against a country and you terminated a government and then you establish courts, etc., and you are just ruling Islamic laws there for non-Muslims. No, it will not be like that. The non-Muslims, they will be given complete peace like the Muslim. Their property, their blood will be safe like the Muslims. I told you about jihad and dawah. And the most important thing in Islam, in Islamic foreign policy, is jihad. Jihad is something which is not in the home, which can't be inside. It is not an inside job that you may do it in your home. Mostly it's happened when you are expanding, when you are facing someone. So as jihad, if we explain it from what is just the meaning of the word jihad, it's from mujahada. Mujahada means extreme struggle. It also came from mukhasama from also mujadala, from jidal, from qisal, and also having the meaning of qital. So that's just the meaning of jihad from its literal meaning. But jihad is something based upon the principle of Sharia, which is declared in Quran and Sunnah. And I'm just putting one hadith in it. I didn't put hadiths here because then I tried, but the slide couldn't afford it. So I'm telling, once Prophet Muhammad asked, a person is fighting for their nation, a person is fighting for his own bravery, a person is fighting for something distinguished. Which one is shaheed if he killed? Which one is the in the way of Allah? Prophet simply answered, من قاتل لتكون كلمة الله هي العليا فهو في سبيل الله. Whoever is fought to dominate kalimatullah, we can say more Islam, he is in the way of Allah. Otherwise, all are useless. They are not for Islam. They are not shuhada. It will not consider something holy. So I think it is very much clear. And I think I declared in Madina, whenever words of jihad used, all the people, they were considered it as qital, not something that I may go out from my what is the supreme jihad. No, never. And the Prophet ﷺ said frequently that if Muslim left jihad, then the humiliation will come. Same happened now. And whenever the Muslims started jihad, and jihad is not something on the specific Muslim. For each and every Muslim, he should be a mujahid. Potentially, he should be a mujahid. In one hadith, Prophet said, if someone learns ramya means that you throwing the arrows, and then he forgotten, he's not from me. I think it is very much alarming. He's not from me. If someone learned and then forgot, just shooting the arrows. Now you can, in that time there was arrows. Now it is guns, cannons, tanks, etc., etc. Flying the aircrafts. Another thing, it was just to distinguish the mujahideen from the other people. I was just telling you about some people are thinking that there is a greater jihad and there is a smaller jihad. Greater jihad means, as Prophet ﷺ described, that the greatest jihad is that when you fight against your nafs, against a shaitan, etc., etc. This is the greatest jihad. So, now, what is the smallest jihad? You go to the battlefield. But the case is not like that. As we know, in frequent hadiths, it's came. A person came to the Prophet, what is the, we can say, the good and the good, we can say the better action in the deen, in Islam. Sometimes Prophet said salah, prayers. Why? Because the party which came to the Prophet had some problem in his prayer. So Prophet just stressed on the prayers. Another time Prophet said zikr. Another Prophet said something else. Just in the differentiation of the party which came to the Prophet. So in that time Prophet said that. And I'm telling you one thing, when you are going to the battlefield and you have not a good nafs, your nafs is telling you that you have wives, you have children, you have to do that, you have to do that. If you go, what will happen after you are, about your children, about your wife, about your family? So first you have to violate, you have to just destroy all these wishes, desires, then you may go to the battlefield. So it has that meaning also. It was also, I'm just leaving there, it will be made long for the jihad. But the most prominent things in foreign policy of Islam is that, okay, it's an Islamic state, it has some principle about its foreign policy, and jihad is the main pillars, from its main pillars, but we can't expand or we can't fight just we can say Iqdami jihad, we can say, or use any word for that. I just forgot this exact word for that. So all the wars, jihads, which is fought in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, you can't take its foreign policy of state of Medina. Why? Because all these jihads were defensive war, defensive jihad. So you can't go for another one. You can't act before someone act. So I just want to clear that meaning. That okay, in the Prophet ﷺ, as we see the case directly, so you may think, of course, it's all defensive, but the case is not like that. First thing is that Islam is clearly declared all the commandments for the jihad. These things are enough that we may declare war against someone before they act. But just look at the time of Prophet ﷺ in the wars which happened in that time. What was the first war? Do you know about the war of Badr? That was actually there was happened some cases, but that was very small less. The declared war was war of Badr. But what was the case of war of Badr? All of we know that people of Mecca come out to act against Muhammad. Why? We have in our mind that Muhammad and his companion just occupied their which me can say Karwan, which was in the reading of Abu Sufyan. So they came to just save their Karwan. But what was the real case? The real case was that before it, some Sahaba, as usually Prophet did, he was sending some Sahaba near the state of Mecca that you do for the purpose of espionage. So in that case, they killed some mushrikeen. In that time, those people, they stressed upon the leaders of Mecca that you may take our revenge. And frequently they were telling that you are that and that, you are not doing so. But when the Karwan of Abu Sufyan escaped from the Sahaba, as you know, he escaped because he changed the route, the main route. So people came to Abu Jahl that we may go back because our purpose is clear now. We came for the Karwan is safe now, that we may go now back. But the person, his brother was killed in that case, he came and he just wear off his shirt and cried that take my revenge and that and that. So that then Abu Jahl and some other people, they decide that it's the chance that we may destroy and derooted Muhammad and his companion. It's the time because there's too much less, they have no weapon, they have no support, and we are in numbers. We may do it. So they are taken and the war happened, and you know about the story. And just come later on, when the Prophet sent the letters to the leaders of Rome, this is also foreign policy. Leaders of Rome, Syria, Bahrain, Persia, Nigas, Habsha, Ethiopia, now Ethiopia. So, what was there? Aslim Taslam. Aslim means one thing is bring Iman, embrace Islam. But another meaning is Aslim, obey. Obey. Taslim, you will be in peace. So what the obey mean? Obey mean you just follow me. You will be the ruler.
Obey and surrender. Obey and
Surrender. Yeah, surrender is the exact word, I think. So, and you will follow your own each and everything, but there will be no suppression as they were doing. There will be no violation of laws as they were doing. The main policies will be decided by Islamic State. Other things you may do for your own, because all they were Christian, and the people also know that what is the message in that letter. So they prepared in million against Muhammad, and then they went for the war. And the Tabuk was not defensive. So there are also a lot of other cases. In another verse which I quoted here, قاتل الذين لا يؤمنون بالله ولا باليوم الآخر ولا يحرمون ما حرم الله ورسوله ولا يدينون دين الحق من الذين أوتوا الكتاب حتى يؤتوا الجزية عن يد وهم صاغرون. I think this verse is too much clear. In your foreign policy, when you aggress against someone, so you do it. Why? Aggression is there. Action is there against someone before that. This verse also justify this claim. It is very much clear. Fight those who believe not in Allah nor the last day, nor hold that forbidden which has been forbidden by Allah and His Messenger, nor acknowledge the religion of truth, even if they are of the people of the book, which means Yahud and Nasara, Jews and Christians, until they pay the jizya with willing submission and feel themselves subdued. I think this verse is very much clear. Just the meaning is enough. My throat is going to the wet. Another thing is, we have very common verse which may lot of people which they don't know about Islam, but they know about this verse, like Rahafiddin. They know this thing. Whenever you say something about Islam, they say like Rahafiddin. What like Rahafiddin means? Just look all the tafasir till from the time of the Tabi'in till now. Under this verse, an explanation and interpretation of this verse, what does it mean? It's the ikrah in the embracing of Islam. You can't force someone to embrace Islam. But we recite this verse when we are telling some to Muslim, do that and do that. He said like Rafiddin. No, when someone became Muslims and there is the state of Islam is established, the law is implemented. Allah said in Quran, the first thing they will implement the rules and the laws of Salah, prayer. If a Muslim refuses not to offer prayer and he is excusing, so there will be lashes whip for him. Not just this is not ikrah. Why he is Muslim? He accepts Islam because he believed that the prayer is something which I have to offer. So that's something very much clear. I told you about before the expansionism, that Islamic State is something that has the nature of expansionist nature, and they have to expand. Why? The Prophet ﷺ in Ghazwa Ahzab digging the trenches, and companion of the Prophet digging the trenches. One rock came which was very difficult for the companion to break. They told the Prophet came and he did it, broke the rock, and there was some sparking. He's telling, in the first spark I saw the castle of Yemen. In the second flash spark I saw the castle of Syria. In the third light I saw the white palace of Kisra. So he is just digging trenches to defend themselves for the defense purpose against Mushrikeen Makkah, because they were in numbers, came to destroy them, derouted them, and they are telling like that. I think if there was someone rational, he may laugh at what he's talking about. He's just digging the trenches and talking about those things. And later on, what's happened, you know about it. So, if there was no expansionism, why Prophet said, I saw that, I saw that, and telling the Sahaba, the companion, you will wear the suit of law and that kings. Why? It was something to be happened. So later on it's happened. If there was no expansionism, in that time they never threat the Prophet, they never threat the companion, there was no fear to come and destroy the state of Medina. Now come to Dawah, which is also a tool of foreign policy in Islamic State. First, in Dawah, I think the most appropriate thing is that we may mention the letters of Prophet ﷺ. These were the letters of Prophet ﷺ sent by those Sahaba to those kings, or you may name them anything. These were the letters. So, what were in those letters? There were very simple things that come to the straightforward. I'm the Prophet. I'm sent by Allah. I'm His messenger, and I have the religion of Islam, and these are the orders. Aslim Taslam, you may remind that thing in your mind. So, just embrace all these things, you will be in peace. But the response was different. Some kings said that, okay, maybe he's right. Hirakal was one from there. He just, Abu Sufyan in that time went to the Syria in a caravan. So he called Abu Sufyan to his palace, and he asked him what kind of person he is. So when Abu Sufyan described all the characters of Prophet, Abu Sufyan said after he embraced Islam, he said, in that time I felt that I may lie now. But again I said that if he came to know that I'll be in trouble, so I completely said truth. So he said he is surely a prophet, because all these characters only a prophet may have. So these are the letters, and that was the dawah. And the dawah is the first thing which will be given to other people. And I said, when you expand, when you aggress against someone, there will be three things. For example, you want to attack someone. First of all, tell them that just embrace Islam. You will be in peace. It's okay. There is no ikrah, because there are other options. If you are not embracing Islam, it's okay. Because there is no ikrah in Islam, embracing Islam. Give us jizya, because your state, your ruling, the way of ruling is suppression even for your people. And as we know, when the Muslim went to the Spain, when the Muslim went in that time to Syria, etc., what they said? They said that you are living in heaven. To the Muslim, you are living in heaven. And we were just being harshed by those rulers till now. And if they accept that, that's okay. If not, then the third option will be to prepare to the war, come to the battlefield, and then you will fight against only those who fight you. Otherwise, you have no option, or you are not allowed to fight against women, children, old men, etc. The people, they are not involved in the war. Another thing is treaties. In the treaty, you may have in your mind, each and every one, the Treaty of Hudaybiyah. So there are some points, and mostly people say that, okay, look to the Prophet. He also just agreed on those points which all were against the Muslims. But the case is not like that. That was all from the Allah side. I am telling that I'll show. The Treaty of Hudaybiyah I think there is no need for its explanation. You also read all these things in your books, also you know about its points. But the Bayt Rizwan is there. I think you may know about that. That in the Bayt Rizwan, the first the people started journey for the Umrah along the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In the midway, someone said that Mushrikeen of Makkah don't want to allow you to offer Umrah. So the Prophet ﷺ sent Usman to Makkah to tell them what they intended. So when Usman went there, the rumors came that Usman is scared, that and that. So the Prophet ﷺ said that they violated the rules and regulation, international rules and regulation, which were the safety of the ambassador. He was our ambassador, and they killed him. So there was a tree. In the shade of that tree, Prophet ﷺ take bayah from each and every companion that if they did so, we will avenge the blood of the Usman from them. And they gave their bayah that we may be died, we may be killed for that, but we will do so. But later on, Usman came safely, and that was just a rumor. But in the treaties of Hudaybiyah, there was lot of points. The most alarming points for the companion was what? That if a Muslims embrace Islam in Makkah and wants to go to Madina and went there, so you will give it back to us. But if a Muslim embrace Kufr, Shirk again and came to Makkah, it will be not given back to the Muslims. That was a point which was very much alarming for the Muslims. But the Prophet said, okay. There was, Prophet knows about all these things. He knows at that time. There was a story which is also narrated in Bukhari. One person, his name is Bashir. He embraced Islam and came to Medina. So two people from the Makkah came and told to the Prophet, you had agreement with us, give him back to us. He cried. Companion said, what we are doing now? But again he is given to them. In the way, he praised the swords of one of them. You have a good sword there and there. He said, okay, look. When he gave the swords, he just cut the neck of one and another person ran away. So he had option there. Why they kept? If they took him there to the Makkah, he mostly the chances was he would be killed. So he did so, and he was fair in there, and he not went to the Medina again, because Medina state of Islamic State had agreement with whom? With Makkah. He went to the Gulf of Arabia and stayed there. And then when the Muslims, he newly embraced Islam in the Makkah, came to know that one person went to the Gulf of that Arab Gulf. So they embracing Islam and went there. So a lot of group made. And when the caravan of Makkah and going on that way, they never allowed them. So they were in trouble. The Mushrikeen were in trouble in Makkah. So again they come to the Prophet, oh Prophet, we beg of you, just call those people to the Medina. They annoyed us. But so this was a story. But in some case the women came, the Muslim women came. The Mushrikeen again come give it back to us. The Prophet denied that we wrote in treaty the words of Rijal, not the women. Okay, it's the men, not women. There's no option that we give women back to you. So mostly there was option that in Quran mostly we are using the word Rijal. Mu'minun, it's the sigha, muzakkar sigha, masculine, but it also means women. It also includes the women. But the case there was the Prophet said because there was something other. And these were the conditions. And then reaction of the companions to the Prophet, they were very much sad about this. But what Prophet said, Mostly the Umar first came to Abu Bakr, what the Prophet is doing. Just go and tell him that may not to do so. Abu Bakr said, no. He's the messenger of Allah. Then he himself went to the messenger of Allah and said that, Prophet, what is this? So Prophet said, Umar, I am Allah's slave and his messenger. I shall not go against his commandments and he will not make me the loser. Prophet knows about each and everything. So he did it. Otherwise, in the commandments which is not from the revealed from the Allah, Prophet mostly consulted with his companion. So here the case was revealed from the Allah. And you know what was the result. And 10 years, they gave 10 years. What was happened later on? The Muslims spread it. And all the benefit went to the Muslims. And these were the achievements which I mentioned here. And another thing, non-Muslims will be considered like 1/4. When you are making your foreign policy, you just keep one thing in your mind, that you are Muslim, you are making foreign policy of Islamic State. When you are making foreign policy against a non-Muslim state, so you should keep it in your mind that al-kufru millatun wahida, that the non-Muslims, which they have their states, certain their governance, they are one. Against whom? Against Islam. They have a lot of clashes among themselves, but against Islam, not Muslim, against Islam, they are one. And the hadith is al-kufru millatun wahida. They are one millah, one ummah, one group. And another thing, وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ إِلَّا تَفْعَلُوهُ تَكُنْ فِتْنَةٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَفَسَادٌ كَبِيرٌ. That the kuffars, they are friends among themselves. So never believe in them that they are our friends. But again, there are clear verses, not hadiths, verses revealed in Quran from Allah's side, that no friendship with non-Muslim. What is this? لا تتخذ اليهود والنصارى أولياء. Don't make Jews and Christians your friends. And another thing is later on that will be never your friends. The verse is that لن ترضى عنك اليهود ولا النصارى حتى تتبع ملتهم. That Jews and Christians will be never happy if you till you obey their own faith. Then they will be happy of you. Then you will be friend of them. But with Islam, with Islamic value, you can't be friend of them. And Darul Kufr, Darul Islam is another thing. I think it is mostly something which is intellectual. These are the ijtihadi umurs, belong to the reasoning. Darul Kufr means which there are no implementation of Islamic law, hudud. That will be Darul Kufr, which there is no peace of Islam, peace given by Islam, and which have no distinguished boundaries from the non-Muslim state. And the Darul Islam is when there is a state where Islamic law is implemented. Islamic law means hudud, which we have clear hudud, qisas, that is implemented, and have other things that will be considered as Darul Islam.
So, can you ask this later on?
Later on, sir. Islam and global economic treaties. It is I told you in the first that you not aggress against each and everyone. You may have good relation with other states. So there will be some treaties of economic treaties. So you may have all these things. You may have trade with them. They can come to your states, you can go to their states, and there are bargaining. But one thing is there, that each and everything which you are doing with them, which will be based on free trust, not sood jo hota hai. There is no option for sood, for trust. It will be free of that. Another thing, in that trade there will be no haram things, forbidden things, and those things which you are buying, in which you are allowing to go to do with them. So I think those things are clear. Otherwise, you may make economic relation with them. And a point is there that this is also just related to the economy, Islamic economy. For example, you have money, you have welfare system, you have to do some social works. You also can do it for the non-Muslim living in another area, living outside of Islamic State, outside of Darul Islam. They are in need. You may give something to them just to tend them to the Islam side. That they may think that Muslims are good, Islam is a good religion, that there is order, that when is a non-Muslim in need, you may help him. It is mu'allafatul qulub, just to tend their hearts towards Islam. So you keep this option in your policy. And that was the last. And now you may ask questions about the relevant topic.
Yes, sir. Question.
Okay. It's a nice presentation. My question that you mentioned about Islam and Darul Kufar. So, Pakistan is Darul Islam or Darul Kufar?
Sir asked a very good question, but from the very good is very much alarming question, which is a challenge for the scholars today living in Pakistan. What they are telling, if you ask them, they are just becoming very much reluctant. What may I say?
But you should not be reluctant. What is your view?
I am clear about that thing. I am just telling about just I have the knowledge about it. Sir, it is in ijtihadi amar. Ijtihadi amar means the ulama just make rule for that what is Darul Islam, what is Darul Islam. So they made some principle. First, the Darul Islam will be called to that state where hududs are implemented. Islamic law are implemented, but the mostly words use hudud, because in the name of Islamic law, there we may doing some things other. Hududs are mean that when a thief did some theft, you cut his hand. When someone drunk, you lash him. When someone did adultery, you may once rajam there, once lash there for unmarried, lash for the married rajam, stoning. So these are hudud. When it is implemented, these are implemented in our state, and he will be considered. And another principle is that it will be having peace, but Islamic peace. That the Muslim will be given peace according to the Islam in that state. For example, in Pakistan, Mujahideen will be safe here. The people who just claiming to the Islamic one, and they are also, and Islamic commandments are not against them, they will be given asylum, shelter, peace, etc. It is another principle. You think what Pakistan is in your mind. Another third thing is, it will have a distinguished boundaries with non-Muslim state. Distinguished boundary means Islamic distinguished boundaries, which you have foreign policy option against them. In Pakistan, first hududs are not implemented here. We may claim that constitution is there and then is written that and there. But I am telling you one thing, that Quran, each and every person, just ask those persons who are implementing laws. They will tell them that Quran is preferable, yeah, or constitution. They are telling Quran. And each and everything is in Quran is written. But in reality, practical, there is nothing. So I never admit this thing that our constitution is Islamic. I say most Islamic this is Quran. But the thing is clear. Another thing, Islamic Aman is here now. We have no Islamic Aman, no Islamic peace for the Muslim, for the Mujahideen here in Pakistan. So, according to my knowledge, and according to I gained from the fiqh and the principle which I learned, I can't admit Pakistan is Darul Islam.
Sir, two questions. Same in addition. One is we can ask what do you mean by Mujahideen within the Islamic State first? Chemical Iran has Islamic State. As we know that there are Saudi Arabia, yes, Hudud are implemented over there. These two questions. First, what do you mean by Mujahideen within an Islamic State?
I mean Mujahideen, the people, what the Mujahideen are. I just gave a definition to you before. When the Prophet asked, I'm not made that definition from myself. That is from the authentic hadiths. The people who fight to dominate Islam, to dominate Kalimatullah, he is fi sabilillah, he is Mujahid. And if he can, he is Shaheed. The people who are just fighting against the kufr, when you want to dominate Islam, you will be surely fighting against the kufr, against someone who want to destroy Islam. He want to
There may be individual here.
it is another question. It will be in something detailed that the jihad is something that state declare, which is just declared in Islamic State. But I'm telling now the jihad is defensive. Now the jihad is defensive. As I told you that Islam never considered the boundaries against the Islamic State, against the Muslim, among the Muslim world. So the people who are fighting in Afghanistan against the US Army, which surely they came against the Muslims who were somehow implement the Islamic law in their states. So the US came against them. It was another thing. They was came against the Islamic State or not, but they came against the Muslims. Here is also against the Muslims, and you are escaping the Muslims from those butchers, from those killers who came from there just to destroy the Muslims here, and the purpose is just Islam. So,
for example, if those Muslims they beg that please don't come as a mujahideen
Brother.
to our country.
Brother, I'm telling you another thing. For example, now Osama bin Laden is a person who killed or not, it is a myth. Leave it. But if you ask me, if the Osama bin Laden, as we know from the starting till the end, if you ask me, who was he? I'm telling you, he was the Mujahid. He was the Mujahid. As I understood the Islamic law and principle, as I understood the Quranic commandments and Sunnah, he was a Mujahid. He was a Mujahid. He was not given peace here. Lot of people, other people, Mujahideen, we hand over to the US. It is another. I think it will take some explanation. I'm just going to another question. What about the case of Iran? Iran, as you know, there are 98% Muslim living there, and 90% Shia and 8% Sunnis are there. But what is their case? They implemented the law of Wilayat Faqih. Wilayat Faqih is something which is based on their own fiqh. They made Wilayat Faqih, and they are doing so because Ayatollah, first of all, Marja was their leader. When the amendments of 1989 happened, then Ayatollah also may become supreme leader of there. So I think their case is there. So I can't say something because they have their own fiqh. They have no concept of Darul Islam and Darul Kufar.
If you are going to recognize their fiqh as Islamic fiqh, part of Islamic fiqh, then you can say because they are very strict in their own fiqh. And if you are going to reject that fiqh as an Islamic fiqh, as a part of Islamic fiqh, then you can say no. That is not a mistake.
Brother, actually,
But let me explain my first point, Mujahideen within Islamic State. In time of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, there was a group of Mujahideen under the command of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. We can say Muhammad was the leader of Islamic State. We can say the president of Islamic State. So there was a group under Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. If we say that there were another group acting to bring Islam up, to implement Islam somewhere else, against the commandment of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And we say that Mujahideen,
First thing,
if they were on the right path.
first thing is that in the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in that time there was no group under Muhammad and no other.
We can assume.
If you assume, you can't say you are not, and I can't justify you. Why? Because in the life of Prophet there can't be distinguishes among the groups, because Prophet is the leader of it all, in each and everything. He's the leader, and he will give the commandments. Okay, that's another thing. And which you are talking, if there was, for example, later on, if there was Khalifa in the time of Hazrat Umar, Hazrat Abu Bakr, so there was only one group, and they were doing the same jihad, they were doing the same dawah, they were just implementing Islam, but they also already implemented in the Islamic area, but they were expanding, because there were threats, they were expanding. Okay, when they expand, they never impose and compulse, there was no compulsion over the non-Muslim that they may accept Islam. Okay,
Good explanation. We will continue this point again.
Absolutely.
There is a question. Expansionist nature of Islam. If we say that there are two ways to expand Islam,
The same question and I also asking because I think answer will be the same. You will mention that there will be neutral state or new relation with non-Muslim state. Then we will not fight against them. Okay, and here you told the expansionist nature, or you can say we will do jihad. Then how we will, if that non-Muslim state is not threat to Muslim state, then how we will do jihad? And or how we will expand our
let me add
Islam.
something more. Like we discussed expansionist nature of Islam. Here, expansionist nature of Islam, and again we say jihad is defensive in nature. So
sorry, jihad is not defensive in nature. I never told that.
you
Aggressive. I told you that people are telling that there is only defensive jihad, but there is also aggressive. I told you that, not the first one.
Jihad is
Not only defensive also and aggressive also. In the light of sorry, he asked something. There is contradiction. One is the nature of expansionist nature, and another is jihad, neutral states, and agreements. Ilham Khan, it is very much clear that you have a neutral state, but with those neutral states you have agreements, peace agreements. You can never go against them. But when you establish Khilafah, when you establish Islam, forget about the Khilafah. Some people are hating the words of Khilafah and just thinking there's some very much conservative, too much, how 2 decades, centuries back. But Islamic, we have implement Islam in a state, you will have lot of enemies in the world. In the existing world, you will have lot of enemies, but you will also have some neutral states. Okay, in the time of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when Jews were here, they were living here. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam had treaties with them, but they were in peace. But when they started to exploit the treaties, what the Prophet did to them, kill all the people which were able to fight, so of some tribe, because they were more violated the right in the agreement. When you have agreement with the states, they will be considered neutral and you can never go against them. But the expansionist nature is that you just sit in corner, that is this my state, people whatever they do, just be calm. Otherwise you can't remain calm, because in this world people will never let you do to act upon the commandments of Allah, of the hadiths, or to implement the law, Islamic law. People never let you.
Yes, thank you. It's in the light of two sentences. First, you just listen these two sentences carefully, then you may answer. That it is a fact that what is the phenomena to defeat or to deceive the innocent. One sentence.
To defeat,
To deceive the innocent.
to deceive the innocent.
Love is a phenomena to deceive the innocent. One thing. And the second thing, that hate is reality. Why it needs power to implement. I just these two sentences. In the light of these two sentences. Okay. Now you tell me this, the first one. When you were depressing fast, like you said, Subah Hudbiya and that's the Beit Rizwan and Charter of Madina, you prefer peace and try to compromise with the non-Muslims or the empowerment society. When you get a power, when you strengthen your power, so you change your mental approach and your behavior from the priority and from the compromise to the expansionism. How 10 years before you try to compromise someone, after 10 years you try to extensionize your area. So is there a change and difference? Why it is possible?
I think first we say the love is the phenomena to deceive the innocent.
Yes.
I think if you take this part and just to take it, look the Sulh Hudaybiyah, one achievement was Prophet ﷺ was doing the same. The people who were living there, they were innocent in their time, the tribals. Prophet ﷺ just take it in mind that if we did not do so and we just do agreement, the people may tend towards Islam and they think something which they are thinking now against it. So why the thing is changed? Here they are doing the peace agreement. After some time, Abu Sufyan came to them begging them, please renew the agreement, renew the agreement. What Prophet said? Never, never. Why? Why it's changed? First thing is that in that time, Prophet needs some time
To empower himself.
to empower himself, one thing.
And
And
later on he start to extend his areas.
extend his area, that was another thing, because they just broke the treaties, they just violated the treaties. That was another
Just the Meccan,
but the Prophet
just Meccan broke
yeah,
the treaties.
Yeah.
What was the mistakes of the Syria and the Egypt and the other ones?
What was their mistakes? I told you before, the Prophet ﷺ sent them letters. Once their leader said, just go to their shepherd. There's a person who's claiming like that and that. He sent only 2 persons and bring it to me. They were the people like them. The Prophet knew about it. So when Prophet sent them letters, they then become their senators and their people of authority. What kind of people they are? They are in number. They are very little numbers and they are claiming like that and that. So they gathered up the army. Okay. So the Prophet straightforwardly went to the Tabuk. And when they came to know that we just preparing and the Prophet came to our borders. So they said, no, never. And we'll be destroyed and
Tell
killed
me
again.
one thing.
So they prepared first. Okay, in that case, they prepared first. They were not innocent. And I told you that Prophet never aggressed against the innocent, and it's the order, never fight against the innocent. Fight against only those who face you in the battlefield.
You tell me one thing. In your last and your final phenomena, you consider this that is a fair to extend your area. In the same case or in the opposite, like today American or Christian want or wish to extend their areas.
Yeah.
So you consider them that is unfair.
Yeah.
When you try to extend, you are fair. Being a human being, being a reality, being
Yeah.
a humanity. What this difference? Why this difference exists?
Why there's a very big difference. I distinguish there. This.
Just tell me being a human being, not being a
Okay,
religious.
okay.
author.
I'm becoming a human being like here. Okay, US come here. They are expanding their state, etc., etc. They have new rules and regulation for their expansion. Okay,
Yes, you
we
have. Why?
Islam has.
So that is Islam. I told you, you only don't tell me the cause of religion, but tell me in the sense of humanity.
Okay, in the sense of humanity, I told you, if in Islamic state, the US remain a calmly state, good to their human, good to the people, okay, they are not suppressing their people, not suppressing someone else around them, then you can't go to their boundaries. Okay,
So you let
I
them
told
peace.
where they-
You let them live. There's, you tell me there is a three principles that the text one, the open war, or to offense, or to defeat.
I told you already.
No, we can say that they have their own rules to regulate this expansionism. How? As Islam has surrender and obey. Surrender and obey. The same they are doing their surrender and
Brother.
obey. Okay, but still,
They are doing something else.
come to the subject. Musa Khan, come to the subject. Foreign policy analysis. Okay, a new presentation. Foreign policy of Islam. So there must be some domestic constraints on foreign policy of Islam. There must be some external or international constraints on foreign policy of Islam. Are you
Quiero
saying
una
Islam?
pregunta para trabajar. Ya no
Okay.
buscando puro Islam, that's it.
No,
Let
last question.
him go. Let him.
Last
ask.
question.
Ahora busco porque-
Yeah, just.
But
But
your presentation was one-sided. You can say one-sided. We assume for time being we consider that there is no constraint on foreign policy of Islam. And in the same way, we discuss some treaties and international bodies like we can say international organizations. So we didn't discuss the international, especially domestic. Okay, leave the domestic constraint, come to the international constraint. We didn't describe the international constraint of foreign policy of Islam.
I discussed. I told you, we'll just go back now. I told you when you are having relation with some Islam will be superior, and you will consider that non-Muslims are one form. You will consider that they will be never your truly friend. I told you all these things. So these are the main principle which you are making. Another thing I'm telling you.
talking about the constraints, the hurdles, in the way of foreign
And now,
policy making Islam.
and now, what are the hurdles? Now, I think hurdles are in numbers. We can't count it, because when you are having that
But
policy,
this is the duty of you to explain over here because of this is the matter of subject.
brother, another thing. I hate domestic and each and every all these things. Okay, the constant hurdles you are talking about. But because of time, I think time will never allow me. Otherwise, I make and just freeze my presentation.
Thank you. And comments, it was a good presentation I ever seen in my life.
Other they can take it.